so we have another SpeedCubeShop unboxing today, and I have a bunch of puzzles here that have been out for actually a little bit now, but just I haven't personally gotten the chance to try them out, and I have heard really good things about each and every one of these actually. So let's just go ahead and get started. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the Yulong V2M. Now I have heard a lot of good things about this one, and it's only $8 I believe, so I think it's the cheapest magnetic 3x3 on the market. But let's just go ahead and see how this thing performs. Alright, and so here is the actual puzzle. Yeah, same Moyu shades, and it has a little bit of a heft to it, so let's just go ahead and see how this thing actually performs. Right off the bat, a little bit sluggish, definitely really dry feeling. It definitely has that same sort of crispy, really fast Yulong type feeling. Definitely very reminiscent of the first version of the Yulong, of course. It has that same sort of feeling to it. The magnets themselves, they're not too defined, but you can still feel them when you're turning it slowly. Yeah, I think this magnetic strength is just right for me and perfect for the cube. It's not too strong where it obstructs the turning, but it just provides enough stability for the puzzle. So as far as I remember of the V1 mechanism, the edges on the V2 just have a lot more tracks, and the corners have these little divots here and of course added tracks. But aside from that, I can't really tell what the difference is. Turning is definitely very similar to the V1 though, but just a little bit upgraded. Corner cutting, yeah, it is tight, so it can't really do much right now, but out of the box it is doing 45, kind of just on the edge, just because it is so tight. Reverse is just right on half a piece on tight tensions as well. So yeah, definitely very promising out of the box, but again, I'll just have to set it up, break it in, and see how it is after all that. Alright, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and check out this Valk 2. So I believe this one is actually the Supernova Valk 2M. So let's go ahead and check this out. We have the cube itself in the really fancy packaging. Let's see what this is here. Oh, it's like a little checklist. So yeah, this really just goes to show the amount of effort that SpeedCubeShop goes in and just the quality control that they have over there. So yeah, definitely really love SpeedCubeShop service. We have a little accessories box, as with all QiYi puzzles. Let's see. So, little cloth thing, Valk 2M, little card, picture, another picture, Matt's Valk picture, another Matt's picture, picture, and picture. So yeah, a bunch of little goodies with the Valk 2M. And into the actual puzzle in this really nice display case. So, looks like we have some extra springs. I'm not quite sure these do, but I'll have to check that out another time. Alright, now into the actual puzzle. I'm super excited for this one. I have heard nothing but good things about this cube, and I haven't really quite found a 2x2 that I've been super comfortable using as my main. So let's just go ahead and see how this is. Definitely some heft to it, and so I believe this cube is actually also 51 millimeters, so definitely a little bit larger than your average 2x2. But let's just see how this thing turns. Wow, very smooth. Yeah, the heft of the puzzle actually does translate to the actual turning and performance of this cube. I think the weight of the puzzle is definitely going to be something that a lot of people are going to need to get used to, including myself. But once you get the cube turning, because the Valk 2 is already such a fast puzzle, it's going to get going from there. So it's not really going to be a huge issue. It's really more kind of an adjustment phase for me. The magnets are definitely not light, but not too strong either. I think it has just enough definition for the turning. So I definitely really enjoy it, and the feeling of the puzzle itself, it actually really reminds me of the wuxia. It has that same sort of buttery smoothness in the turning, but the Valk 2 is definitely a lot faster. The speed is definitely a problem I had with the Wushot, just because it was a little too slow and gummy feeling for me. But the Valk 2, once you get it turning, it flows really nice, and it's not going to be too fast. I think it can be suited for a lot of different turning styles. Yeah, the Supernova setup on this is definitely really enjoyable as well. The corner cutting, 45, and reverse is a little around half a piece, but you really don't need that much corner cutting on 2x2 anyway. So I think the only thing left with this cube is just getting used to the weight. It is a little bit heftier compared to other 2x2s that I've used and that I'm used to. But I definitely really love the size, even though it is 1 millimeter bigger than your normal 50 millimeter 2x2. It provides the right amount of grip, just because it's so much easier to handle. Even with that small difference, you can definitely feel it. But yeah, overall, definitely a really great puzzle, but again, it's just something that I have to get used to. So I'll break this cube in, do some averages with it, and I'll let you guys know my final thoughts in another video. Alright, so next up, I'm gonna go ahead and check out the Little Magic Square 1M from Yuxin. So this one is actually really cheap, definitely less than $10, and it is magnetic. And so right off the bat, I really love the shades. Red is a nice darkness, green, blue, and everything else has a really nice fluorescent shade to it. But let's just go ahead and get into the turning of this thing. Wow, it's really smooth. I can tell that corner cutting isn't too great. It does flow fairly well, but it's just that at some turns where I'm not totally accurate, it won't flow through, it just won't cut it. Yeah, like right about when you get too far, it just kind of locks up and it won't cut at all, or it'll cut the other way where I don't want it to actually cut. Yeah, it just locks up right around here. So definitely kind of blocky feeling, but I guess I'll just have to set it up and see maybe if it's a tensioning issue or just I need to work on my own accuracy. But the feeling itself is actually really nice. It's so smooth. It has a nice kind of light and fast feeling, but for me even, it's actually really nice and controllable. And so I do know that there have been some mod tutorials released for this cube, and I think it does improve the corner cutting, so I have to look into that. The magnets themselves, they're really light. The slice, I can barely feel the magnets. The actual layers, you can't feel them while turning as if you're solving. Just if you're doing regular algorithms like this at a normal speed, you won't be able to feel the magnets. But I'm sure it is providing just enough stability. So yeah, overall, I think this is actually probably the best budget Square One out there. And it is so cheap, but the performance is so much better than what you would expect from the price tag. My current main is actually a Supernova Cubing Classroom Square One magnetic from SpeedCubeShop, which I really enjoy. But this one, I actually really love the feeling of it. So I have to play around with it, set it up, and get used to the turning, and maybe this might become my new main. But yeah, out of the box, I actually really recommend it. Alright, so following up with another Yuxin cube, let's go ahead and check out the Little Magic 5x5M. And so I think this thing is under $20, which to me is just insane for a magnetic puzzle. Alright, so looking at this thing, I really love the shades. Compared to the Little Magic Square 1, the red is a lot brighter, more fluorescent on the 5x5. But I still really love the shades nonetheless, really great contrast. So let's just go ahead and see how this thing turns. Wow, I actually really love the turning of this thing. It does feel a little dry out of the box, very similar to the 3x3 Yuxin Little Magic and also the 6x6 version. It has that same kind of dry, papery, crispy feeling, but the controllability of this puzzle really suits my turning style. And so with the magnets, they're noticeable, but when you're just doing algorithms as is, you're not going to be able to feel them. But I can tell that it just provides the perfect amount of controllability and definition. For me especially, the biggest problems that I have with higher ordered puzzles is that when you're doing 3x3 stage, a lot of the times the inner layers are going to get dragged along while you're doing the 3x3 stage. But with this cube, you can see I'm doing the 3x3 layers just fine. Nothing is dragging along with it, and I can control each layer really well. So yeah, definitely really, really impressive for a budget magnetic 5x5 out of the box. Check out the corner cutting. Yeah, corner cuts like a really great amount. Reverse, not so much, but yeah, nonetheless, just turning it out of the box, I'm really not getting that many catches or lockups. So if you're on a budget and in the market for a good 5x5, I would definitely recommend the Yuxin Little Magic M. This thing is just really crazy out of the box, and I can only imagine it getting better after setting up and fully breaking it in. So yeah, I'll set it up, do everything I need to this puzzle, and I'll get back to you guys with my final thoughts. Alright, so last puzzle in this order, we have the XMan Spark 7x7M. And so I know that when all the new 7x7s got released, like the Alfu GTS-M and this Spark, there was a lot of debate between what the best 7x7 on the market was. And I have tried out the Alfu, I have the Alfu GTS-M, and I do really enjoy it, but I have heard some really, really great things about the XMan Spark. So I was really curious to see the performance of this one, so let's just go and check this one out. And so here we go. Right off the bat, I really, really love the size of this. For me personally, I do have relatively small hands, I would think, and this 7x7 suits me really well. Alternatively, I would assume that people with larger hands wouldn't quite enjoy this puzzle as much, but I think for the wider general public, a lot of people would like the size of the XMan Spark. So just comparing it to the 5x5, for example, yeah, definitely not too far off from the Yuxin Little Magic 5x5. So let's just go ahead and see how this thing actually turns. Oh, wow. I really, really like this. In comparison to the Alfu GTS-M, this one definitely flows a little bit better. The Alfu is just a little bit more blocky, and this one flows in corner cuts really well, especially for my turning style. Yeah, the turning itself, it has a little bit of a heft to it. It actually really reminds me of the same kind of weight that flows within the Valk 2M. But this one, I really love the feeling of it. It is fast, but because of the weight, it's still relatively controllable. And the corner cutting flows really, really well. And I can control the puzzle super easily. Yep, corner cutting is great, does it really well. Reverse, it takes a little bit of effort, but I mean, especially on these big cubes, you don't need that much corner cutting. The magnets themselves are light, and you can't really feel them while you're doing algorithms and just turning as is. It's only when you're turning it super, super slowly and purposely feeling for the magnets can you actually tell that they're there. But nonetheless, definitely still a really great 7x7, and it is very controllable. For someone like me that's not super experienced in solving 7x7, I can control this puzzle really well, and it works really well for my turning style. And so I am going to have to do a little bit more breaking in and some more solves on this cube, but out of the box, I actually do think this is a lot better than the Alfu GTS-M. It just flows through turns and algorithms a lot better. It doesn't catch or lock up quite as much, and the Alfu GTS-M is just, overall, it feels a lot more blocky. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new 7x7, I would definitely go ahead and go for the XMan Spark if you want like pretty much the best 7x7 out there. If you already have the Alfu GTS-M, it's kind of up to you how well you do with the Alfu. For me, I guess I could have done with just the Alfu, but the XMan Spark is just a little bit more of a minor upgrade. It flows a lot better, it turns with a lot more ease. So yeah, that's really just going to be up to you if you want to shell out another around $40 or so for a slight improvement on your Alfu GTS-M. Alright, so that is gonna do it for this unboxing. I'm definitely expecting some new mains out of this order, and I'm super excited to go ahead and play around with these cubes some more. And if you have any questions at all about any of these cubes, definitely feel free to leave them below in the comments. And while I do definitely plan to have some reviews and update videos on a lot of these puzzles, I'm sure you guys have noticed that my uploading schedule has been really erratic, and I just haven't really been as active as I would like to be. But I do plan to still upload whenever I possibly can, so definitely keep on the lookout. But yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.